Welcome to the California-Nevada chat on this lovely Friday, June 28th, 2024. My name is Nikki Gatch. I serve as the Executive Director of the Southern California PGA on behalf of our president, Eric Lohman, as well as our colleagues from the Northern California PGA section, Interim Executive Director Michael Merritt and President Eric Lippert. We welcome you to this month's chat. Our guests this morning are great. You're in for a huge treat. We've got two highly respected PGA professionals. They're both the current coaches of the men's and women's #1 players in the world. We're certainly looking forward to hearing from both of them, learning their insight and their journey to coaching such elite players. So we very much look forward to hearing from Mr. Randy Smith and Mr. Jamie Mulligan. Also joining us later, as always, to give us our legislative updates is Public Affairs Consultant for the Southern California Golf Association, Craig Kessler. Before we get started, I'll turn it over to our Northern California colleagues, Mr. Eric Lippert, President, and Interim Executive Director Michael Merritt, for any opening comments. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Nikki. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for having us. All I want to say, it's just amazing that we're already halfway through the year. It just seems like the time flies. It just doesn't quite stop. I know we're all busy. Real big thank you to Jamie and Randy and for being here with us and sharing unbelievable coaches and the things that they do for us as PGA members. So what a great day to have them, and great. We're lucky to have them have them here with us. So thank you guys for being here. Nikki, you're awesome. Looking forward to seeing you and the gang here in about a week or two. And so thanks, everybody. Have a great day and enjoy the meeting and the group here. Thanks.
Thanks, Eric.
Well, Nikki, thank you. On behalf of everyone from Northern California, it's really great that we get to listen to two greats of the game teach, along with the wonderful insights of Craig Kessler. So, Nikki, why don't you kick it off and let's begin.
Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. I'm going to jump into some bios. I did condense because we didn't want to take up too much time on the chat here. Pretty impressive. Definitely learned even some few things about both these gentlemen, but I'll start with Mr. Smith. Randy's based out of Royal Oaks Country Club in Dallas. He's been there a long time. Randy's the all-time leading PGA of America National Award winner with 18 national awards. I mean, that's just an outstanding achievement. I knew he had a lot of awards and a lot of recognition, but did not know that he was the all-time leading PGA of America award winner. Very cool. He's one of just two people ever to be named both PGA of America Professional of the Year and the PGA of America Teacher of the Year. He was Professional of the Year in '96 and Teacher of the Year in 2002. He was also inducted into our PGA of America Hall of Fame in 2005. He has developed a reputation over 40 years as the go-to instructor for young players in North Texas. I started with PGA Tour veteran Justin Leonard. In addition to Justin, he has coached notable PGA professionals. I probably will miss a few names, but Martin Flores, Harrison Fraser, Colton Oast, Martin Laird, Ryan Palmer, John Rollins, and D.A. Weibring, among many, many others. And of course, his most notable student of recent times, two-time Masters champion and current #1 golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Smith. I'm going to run through Jamie's bio, and then we'll jump into some questions for both of you. Jamie Mulligan currently serves as the Chief Executive Officer of Virginia Country Club in Long Beach. Jamie is a 10-time Section and Chapter Award winner within the Southern California PGA. Jamie earned the prestigious honor of the 2021 PGA of America Teacher and Coach of the Year. And Jamie is also a member of the Long Beach State and Southern California Golf Halls of Fame, as well as our California Teaching and Coaching Hall of Fame. Jamie's list of former and current students is very long, just as Randy's is, including the likes of John Cook, Paul Goydos, John Merrick, John Mallinger, Luke List, Mo Martin, and of course, men's eighth rank current player in the world, Patrick Cantlay, who he's worked with since he was a young boy. And of course, the current women's #1 player in the world, Nelly Korda. So welcome, gentlemen. It's just a pleasure to have you. We know how busy your schedules are, especially this time of the year. Just so grateful that you could squeeze in some time to be with us today. So we're going to jump right in. I know you two will banter with each other and have some fun, so please do. But I'm going to kick it off, and Jamie, I'm going to start with you. You know, both your top players right now, Scotty and Nelly. I mean, Scotty's won 6 times already. Nelly had 5 consecutive victories already this season. I mean, what's different this year? You know, and how do you help them stay at those levels week in and week out? And Jamie, I'll start with you.
Yeah, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. And Randy's been my longtime buddy. They call people icons all the time, but he's definitely one in our industry. And if we're ever together and we're on the road and there's a seat in the lunchroom or there's a time to go to dinner, Randy's the guy that I get to spend time with. And Randy, I appreciate all the mentoring for me and all the friendship and all the banter and all the laughs that we have. I think that both of us are pretty similar in that we don't take this very serious, but we're trying to be as serious as we can about winning golf tournaments and being the best coaches we can be to the best players. So it's been a unique relationship, and I'm flattered that he was able to join our section and Nevada as well too to do this today. So thank you for that. And then for your question, I'm a process guy, and we call the quest or the process, and the whole deal with Nelly has just been to make her process as simple as possible. And when we started working with her some years ago, it was taking a look at everything that she was doing and eliminating things that didn't need to be there and keeping the great stuff in there. And I would say that's kind of happened with attrition for some things and some definitive choices of, hey, you can't do this anymore. And some choices by herself to, hey, this is what I need to do. And now we're in a really nice little bubble where she's got 3 or 4 swing keys and a couple of short game keys, and she's got a way to do her training, and she's got a way to try to live her life to the best possible so she can be the best athlete when she came out there. And when I was, I'm not sure a lot of people know this, but one of my first students that I had was Amy Alcott. She won 29 times on the LPGA Tour. She won 19 years in a row. I learned a bunch about winning from her, not about swing, not about stroke, but you always learn more when you're coaching a tour player than you teach them. And one of the things that she told me about winning that I thought was really unique was she said she could win in every condition. Like she didn't like the weather, the hot weather, but she won the US Open by 8 shots when it was 108 degrees, and she didn't like the cold weather, and she won a tournament there by 5 shots. And she won when she had problems in her family and she had stuff that was going on outside of the golf course that wasn't the best. And she won from behind and she won from in front. And we tried to get Nelly to realize that, like, it doesn't have to be perfect every week. So the string of the 6 victories in a row are not dissimilar from what Scotty's done. They're all different. And she won from in front a lot. She won from behind. She won from in front where she lost and then had to win in a playoff. She won in a match play event. She won a major championship where she sat on the lead like every day. So she's done it in a bunch of different ways and a bunch of different weathers. And I think what we learned a long time ago kind of helped to put her in that bubble. And she's in that bubble now. And we're trying to stay right now as we go into a big part of the year with Evian coming up and their Open Championship. And then obviously the Olympics, and it's a Solheim Cup year.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you see, you know, when you look at your friend and your mentor Randy and what he's been able to do with his student Scotty? What are you seeing, both sort of from the outside and obviously you have an inside look there?
Well, I think there's some attorney-client privilege with both of us as far as the inside secrets. And what he tells me, I wouldn't share to the world, but you know,
Sure.
he's had this kid since he was a young person, just like Patrick. And I remember years ago talking to him and saying, you know, is this kid really as good as they say? And he's like, Jamie won 90 junior golf tournaments, 90. So that's like the only thing bigger than that is the 18 national awards. So I like him a lot. He's a great kid. We've got to know him a lot. Patrick is playing a lot of practice rounds. They often have Scotty Scheffler, Randy, welcome to Zoom. Not a kid. Your hair looks lovely too. Proud of you.
This is going to be, we're doing this with tin cans, wires, and bubble gum. So you're gonna have to bear with me. I did my hair just for you. I pulled most of it out when the camera didn't come up, so I'm trying to look my best, bud.
Nikki, hair and makeup I knew was going to take a while. This should have been 11 o'clock call.
Duly noted for next time.
We keep going. Salmon, or is that peach? Like, what color is that you're wearing?
business is Peach.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna
You
talk.
like it?
I'm gonna talk. I do like. I'm talk for a second more about you. Put your Rolex down so everybody can see you. It's blocking your face. All right. Anyways, yeah, with Scotty, he's an amazing kid, and he has a bunch of Randy in him. You know, he's got a really polite way about him, and he's got a really sharp tongue at the right time, and he's got a really competitive way about him. And you know, the way that they go about their golf, it's pretty simple, and the swing doesn't change, and there's stuff in his swing that's idiosyncrasy that you know some people might change, but I wouldn't change it. I love players when they're swinging that they're on top of the ball, and when they swing down, they get away from the ball and create room and create leverage. And he does that not unlike a Trevino or not unlike a Greg Norman, with maybe a square club face. And you can tell from him. I was at Hartford last week and watched him the whole week. He likes to win and wants to win and knows how to win. And a lot of times winning golf tournaments is jockeying, trying to figure out what you need to do with the other players, what you need to do to play the golf course the right time. And in my opinion, I'm not taking golf lessons at this time, but I think Randy and I can both say this to each other. If I was going to take a golf lesson, it would be the guy that just came on the Zoom. And Randy might take a golf lesson from me. Besides that, we're not taking any lessons.
Well, I'm taking lessons this afternoon from one of our people. I mean, I need a golf lesson. I'm changing venues here. Now then.
Randy, you're going to make the entire audience get sick, okay? Nikki, why Melanie makes so much money, so this doesn't happen to me.
So let's talk about a little bit before we go back to Randy. How do you help Nelly, Patrick, all the players you work with at that level? How do you help them manage their life, right? I'm sure they're getting pulled in a million different directions off course. You know, it seems like that when they're on the course, they're with you, they're competing, they're in their bubble, they're in their zone. And then when they're off, they've got to manage this sort of chaos around them. How much do you contribute to helping them? I know all great players right now have teams of people that help them, but is there anything there that you can share with us?
Yeah, I like to feel like not like at Virginia Country Club, I'm the CEO of the team, and everybody has their role, and there's a physio and a trainer, and there's an agent, and there's a manager, and there's a finance person, and there's a caddy, and we all work together great as a team, and we all like each other. We all have a lot of fun with it. We're, you know our style, Nikki. We're always laughing and giggling, so we're doing that, keeping it loose, and we feel like a little family that's traveling around. And Patrick kind of grew up in the wheel mentality that we've always talked about, where you have spokes in your wheel, and our job is to keep them straight. And he's a really intelligent, really funny guy with 8 or 9 spokes in his wheel that he keeps straight all the time, and they're on and off the golf course. So, and if one of the spokes gets bent, we know how to go to the garage and get them straightened so we can get the wheel going the right way. And Patrick's he's learning a bunch in this game, that this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You're going to have your times, you're going to have events that we've been saying this a lot. Losing feels worse than winning feels good. And losing also creates winning if you allow it to. So if you think about that, losing feels worse than winning feels good. And losing creates winning if you allow it to, meaning what did I do and what I need to do better in the next time. Sometimes you can't just win because you want to win. Somebody might just play better. And I think Randy would agree with this. The top 10 players in the world, including his man, are the best players that I've got to see conglomeratively. I'm sure Jack Nicklaus would be in there, or Tiger Woods would be in there. But if you think of the top 10 players, they're playing better, they hit it better, they chip it better, they bunker it better, they roll it better, and the way that they conduct their lives with their tees, it's more organized than 30 years ago when I first started doing this.
Yeah. Walk me through that. This just popped in my head because it's something that, I could certainly relate to. One of the few things, if anything, I could relate to with Nelly, when she made the 10 on a par 3. I think you were there with her. What did you see from her? I mean, you obviously know her better than most. How did she? I know she bounced back from it. It's tough to come back, from that. But can you share with us like what you saw, what was going on in her head, how she was able to just flip it and forget it and move on?
Yeah, again, some of that's attorney-client as far as kind of what went on in that action. But I/we didn't love the hole. I didn't say I didn't love the hole, but the hole was an interesting hole. It was a front to back tilted green, coming in a valley with a wind blown from left to right and into you. If you hit it past the hole, it bounced into the back bunker where she ended up. If you hit it right at pin high with any spin, it rolled back in the water. There were 48 balls that were in the water that morning, and unfortunately, 3 of them were hers. So just sitting there, I was sitting with Doug Ferguson, who's the AP reporter. He watches a lot of golf. We've watched a lot of golf holes in our life, and we were in the bleachers, which I don't normally go to. We were sitting in the bleachers, and I saw the shot, and I saw the ball, and it settled down a little bit. I'm like, well, this is going to be a hard shot. And you really couldn't play the ball left or right, Nikki. You had to play it down towards the hole. So when it came out a little hot. And as soon as it landed on the green, I went, this is going to get wet. And then she pitches the ball nicely, and she just tried to trust her pitching, and it didn't happen. And she kind of just did what she did. And there was a rules official that was there, and they were trying to get a ruling, and the rules official didn't speak English. So the ball was rolling the water hazard. It was just a perfect storm. It was rolling down the water hazard, and she didn't want to drop the ball in the wrong spot, and they couldn't communicate. So just watching it, it was like a bad movie for a while. And
Oh, man.
my poise, or I don't ever, say anything at all. The one thing I did when it's pretty funny is Doug goes, well, what does the PGA National Coach of the Year do now in a situation like this? And I go, well, you're going to get to hear it. And I called our manager, and our manager, said, what's up? And I said, can you bring some golf balls out? And he goes, you're only on hole number 3. And I go, do the math, buddy. And hung up, and we both started laughing. So, there was some levity there. Nellie actually got a kick out of that when we told her. And I'm proud of her. She continued to play through the event. And unfortunately, it was hard to come back from 7 over par on one hole. But, she was lovely in the tournament besides that. And arguably, if that didn't happen, there's a chance that she could win that tournament as well, too. So we just think the message out to everybody that teaches on here is hold your poise, hold your emotion, don't make a big deal out of anything, watch it, what goes on, and let your player know what went on. Try to fix what could happen if it did, if you can, and if you can't, it's just one of those things. It's golf.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Humbling game, even for the best in the world.
Can I hop in on that?
Yes, please.
Okay. What Jamie said there, I really like that, because if you've been around Jamie enough, you notice there's pretty calm demeanor, very calm. And when the instructor and or team seems to be a little bit fritzed or losing their head, it does not work well with the player. And I can't think of a better guy to be that calming influence, and especially in a storm like that. And I think that's very important for instructors to be looking at what the situation is and do the best they can to eliminate further damage. And I think, I got to hand it to Jamie on that one.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Randy, while we've got you, before we lose you again, I'm just
Okay.
kidding. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. We talked about, we kicked it off with Jamie. Obviously your 2 of your players have had incredible seasons so far, with Scotty winning 6 times, Nelly winning 5 in a row. I mean, is there anything that's different, or is it just clicking this year? Is there anything different? And then I'd love your perspective as to what you see when you see Jamie coaching Nelly. Is there anything that you see from an outsider plus an insider?
Well, first of all, I guess on Scotty's situation, I mean, he's played some really good golf prior to the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing really totally different. He tends to be capitalizing, and he's making more putts, which is obvious. He's doing a little better with the putting, but his proximity to the hole and the way he's dialed in his distance control over the last year and a half, I think from a technical standpoint, is one of the reasons he's playing so well. But I will say this, he is one of the greediest people I've ever been around. And when I say greedy, I say that with all due respect for what he's doing, because, you go out there and you win a golf tournament, you feel it inside as an athlete, you feel it inside as a player, you really like that field so much that it feeds the next one and the
Mhm.
next one. And the greed factor, I think with him right now, he's about as greedy as any human's ever played the game. And he enjoys it. And he's got such a wonderful library that he's built up over the last 2 years of how to win. What happened when he didn't win? What happened in those T2s and second place finishes that he's had? What was the little small thing that was missing that would put him over the top? And he's thinking that way. And so my hat's off to him. As far as Jamie working with Nelly, you know, I see it a lot on TV because, you know, Nelly, she is so easy on the camera. She's so nice, so sweet, and one of the most beautiful golf swings I've ever seen in my life. And as Jamie would say, has a marvelous texture to it. But I think the relationship that they have is very engaging on both sides. You don't just see Jamie presenting his case. Jamie saying, okay, Nelly, you see as much of Nelly asking the questions, talking. And you know what? If you move the camera back, sometimes they're not even talking about the golf swing. They're talking about something else, something that keeps her in a comfortable mode. And I think I can really appreciate that the most.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing. You talk about Scotty and his demeanor and his desire, almost addiction to winning, if you will. Has he always been like that? I mean, I know you've been with him since he was just a young boy. Have you always seen that in him, or have you watched that develop?
I think, oh yeah, it's been there since age 6. But at age 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up probably to you're about 18 years of age, you haven't matured enough to handle that need for victory, that need for success. Sometimes as a junior, he would get a little fritzy and we'd have to kind of, you know, settle it down. All right, let's have a little talk here. Come on. This isn't the way you behave. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we had a little of that, as most junior players do. But the one thing it never died was his need to succeed. And it really works out well because he doesn't just need to succeed by winning. He needs to succeed by accomplishment of a task. On the golf course, hitting a golf shot is kind of like winning. This is what I see. This is what I create. And he gets so into what he's creating that that's a victory for him. Those 2 3-woods he hit last week on number 13 at Hartford, those were show off shots. I mean, they were show off shots. I know I have this shot. I know I want to hit this shot. Ted, I'm hitting this shot. And he did it both times beautifully because he was flat showing off and he wanted to have a victory on a tough shot. And he did. And I think the more you do that, the more you expect it. And you're also, the more you do it, if you don't pull one of them off to your satisfaction, you're a lot less hard on yourself because you've had so many successes and you can go back to your library of good things to create the next best victory or shot on the golf course.
Awesome. Well, we know both Scotty and Nelly have represented the United States and Ryder Cup and Solheim Cup, but they're now Olympians, and will be representing our country once again in about a month or so. Number one, will you all be joining them in Paris? And number two, any different preparation for this, or do they look at this as just another tournament, or is it at the level of like a major, or how do they prepare? Jamie?
Yeah, a couple things on that. I wanted to say to Randy too, like Randy's so humble about what he's done for Scotty, but he's molded that and he lets Scotty be. And Scotty's one of the most interesting dynamics and dichotomies that I've seen. He is a great father, great husband, Christian guy that's just marching in the right spot completely, regardless of the fact that Randy had him arrested. And too soon, Randy? I don't think so.
Go ahead, Jamie. Go ahead.
We consult for one of the college teams, and they called us right after that major, and they were like, "How do we prepare for nationals?" You know, and I said, "Well, last week it looked like at the PGA you get divorced on Tuesday and arrested on Friday. So anyway,
Whoa.
he's an amazing young man, but he also's got a gangster way about him too. He's got like I want to win. I think greedy's a perfect word. I want to win. It doesn't matter. Like a lot of times, you know, Sam and Scotty are playing a game against Xander and Patrick, who are exactly the same way. And for whatever amount of money is, I'm not going to disclose. It's cutthroat out there, and you know they're not worrying about how they're playing the hole in a practice round. They're worrying about winning that match, and winning breeds winning. So Randy's done an amazing job with that. To go into the Olympians, I wanted to share, like, we've got to consult a little bit on the Schauffele team. He's Patrick's best friend, and Nelly won the gold medal last time. They both said the same thing, Xander and Nelly, which was really cool. They said after you win, they give you a package and it has a white jumpsuit in it, like a sprinter would wear. And you put that on and they put the gold medal around you and you feel like an athlete. And regardless, we're all golfers that are on this call, but golfers sometimes don't feel like they're an athlete. We feel like we're a golfer, but golfers are more athletes now than ever. And they both said the exact same thing, that moment when they hopped up on the podium to win that gold medal, they realized that, you know, they're the best athlete in their respective sport, and they weren't playing for money. They were just playing for the sport, and it meant so much. So I am going to go to Paris with Nelly. I'm excited about that. I know Randy's limited his traveling schedule a little bit. I'm not sure what he's going to do, but when you think about it, I know Randy's the same way. I don't care about the money in this sport while they're playing for a load. And Randy, I don't think he cares about the money as well, too. We've never actually even had the money conversation with each other. Like, oh my God, Scotty's won this, or Nelly's won that, or Patrick's won this, or anybody's won that. It doesn't matter. But winning a gold medal for your country, come on. I mean, can't be any bigger than that. And the golf course from the Ryder Cup last time, being able to go over there and share some knowledge with that and get her ready to play on that, we're really looking forward to it. And I imagine, knowing Scotty, the guy that is, he's looking forward to it too. I'll turn it to Randy.
Well, he is looking forward to it. And I think the times that we had, you know, there are people that say, I don't know if I'm going to play the Ryder Cup this year, or pardon me, I'm not going to play in the Olympics. I really don't know if I want to go to the Olympics or not, you know, and all that. That is, as you well know, Jamie, that's gone. That's gone. The Olympics is a big deal. And one of the reasons for Scotty it's such a big deal is that Scotty plays basketball. Scotty has played football. He has played baseball. He's one hell of a ping pong player. Do not play him in pickleball. He's world class. So therefore, he's an athlete. He's been a little athlete ever since he was 6 years old. And there's nothing he out there he doesn't think he can do. That lacrosse thing was a little tough on him because he was so short and small. He was having a little trouble with that, but he was really good at it. He was too fast to play lacrosse. So being an athlete and going to a place where all these great athletes and all these other sports they're there. It just feeds that fire of being an athlete and playing golf, but he's also around the discus thrower and people like that. And I think he's excited as heck about that.
Randy, can he ride a scooter?
Not like I can, Jamie.
Some people know this and some not. At the President's Cup a couple years ago, was it President's Cup or Ryder's Cup? President's Cup, right?
Yeah, it's that one.
The players had a player room and they were inviting everybody up to eat. And Randy and I were like, we're not going to eat with the players. So Blackburn and Randy and I would go eat every night at this Italian restaurant. And so we go to dinner one night and we walk out of this Italian restaurant. It's right across the street from the hotel. And this hipster kind of cruises up on a scooter and he's got like the whole outfit, like the hiked up pants and, you know, the t-shirt and the whole world. He dressed like Randy, not like me. And so anyway.
You see my collar? Look at this. This is a real collared shirt.
We wish we could see it.
We can't.
Oh, y'all can't see me?
Randy, and don't try to adjust it. We can hear you.
No.
Okay. Well,
You have a great ad going for Mevo right now.
And now that I know that you can't see me, all bets are off, Jamie. I'm in.
Everybody Google Randy right now so you can see his face and then just keep talking. But anyways, we walk out of this restaurant and we're kind of standing right by valet and there's 50 people around and Randy and Mark and I, we might have had a couple beers maybe. So he wasn't perfect.
No.
He's up on a scooter, and all of a sudden Randy just looks at it, and the kid gets to get off the scooter, and Randy hops on it. 10 o'clock at night, out he goes into the street, makes a right on Charlotte Boulevard on the main street, and Blackburn's yelling, "Randy, do you know how to use the brake?" And Randy's just in his pose, holding the scooter, and off he goes, you know. We're like, oh my God, this isn't going to end well. By the way, my guy can fall occasionally. So goes up, comes around the block, comes back, and the kid's kind of standing there thinking this guy stole his scooter and he's got his credit card on it. And Randy just cruises back up into the parking lot and hands him the scooter and said, "This thing's fun," and then just walked to the hotel like Clint Eastwood. Oh my God, we were crying, we were laughing. So I don't think Scotty can out scooter ride you, Randy.
You know, that may be the one area that I may compete with him pretty well on. You know, I don't want to see that boy on a scooter. I'm having a hard enough time with him playing pickleball. Lord.
Well,
Well, that's just a few of the things. So, I mean, you know, kind of the fun stuff like tournaments like that. You know, Jamie and I will occasionally get together and chat. But you know, the fun thing about being around Jamie is that he is a world-class sneaky listener. You know, he is real sneaky. He sits there and he'll bring in information. He hears all this stuff. Then he'll poke me in the ribs and he'll give me his feel on it. And I always enjoy that, what his opinions are about not only golf, life in general, stuff like that. I have a good time just watching this man listen to people, collect information, discard the bad, keep the good. And I think it's a credit to you, Bubba.
Yeah, right back at you. I think what he just said, Nikki, too, I think that's a huge thing for everybody on there is I think that's kind of the best nature of our game is keep the good and get rid of the bad. And, you know, if we get a player, like I've had some talented players that I don't mean anything against Scotty and I don't mean anything against Nelly, but I've had players that had more physical talent than both those players, but they keep too much of the bad and don't get rid of the good. And as I've gotten, I hate to ever use the word older, I will say wiser or more experienced, you want to eliminate the bad as much as you can. And that's teaching anybody. That's teaching a beginning golfer or being around a junior golfer at your club. I think Randy and I are, I'll say that tour players get tour coaches after they become tour players. Randy and I have done a really nice job in our respective states of having people become tour players that we started with when they were a kid, and we got to water their plant until they were a tree. And then they went out and played. And there's a lot of developmental work there, and he does an amazing job at that. I have not met one of his players, be it Justin or be it Martin or be it Gary Woodland, that they didn't have an amazing depth in them because of the fact that Randy's not only influenced their motion, and then an ironic thing about that, or maybe not ironic, is none of his students swing alike. And I don't think any of my students swing alike either. And we've been able to take what they have and kind of bring it. But Randy does an amazing job of raising the individual because at the end of the day, this is a hard sport. It looks pretty glamorous. They hop on a jet, they fly to a place, they stay in a nice hotel, they register, they practice Tuesday, they play Pro-Am Wednesday, then they play a tournament Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But when you're on the road, you really realize you're away from your family way too much. Or if you're with your family, you're not in a stable environment. And they're like a fish in a fishbowl swimming and everybody's looking at them. And if it's not going well, it doesn't feel right. And if you don't win every week, it doesn't feel right. And even when you win, there's pressure to continue to do it again. So raising the individual to be a great person is probably the paramount objective for what we do as coaches. And Randy's the master of that.
Okay, that's awful nice of you. I don't know. I guess I should come back with something really nice about you. But I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, you said something about the good and the bad there. Okay, you know, keeping the good and getting rid of the bad. Okay, you've got a player like Nelly, #1 in the world, and she is a dream to watch hit a golf ball. What was the good stuff that you wanted to keep with Nelly coming up? And what is the bad stuff that you wanted to get rid of and have gotten rid of?
Yeah, I would say generally, I'll just give you two comments. Peter won the Australian Open. Her dad and her mom played tennis for a living, and her brother's the 25th ranked player in the world tennis player. And Jessica arguably has the best golf swing that I've ever got to coach. I mean, as far as like, if you just put it on paper at the National Coaching Summit, and you were there with me, Randy, which was really fun. When we got to keynote the summit, I put all this video out, and I didn't know what we were going to speak about that day. The two professionals that I work with, the two Nicks, made the presentation, and we hired Dylan from Golf Magazine to do the interview, and nobody told me what was going on, and I'm a lot better extemporaneously than I am with agenda. So anyways, they ran all these swings, and they played music to it, and they made me laugh, and they made me cry, and we just kind of opined on everything. And Randy was in the third row, and he was the only one that got all my jokes, which made me feel great, because a lot of people didn't laugh at my dumb jokes. Somebody called them dad jokes, and I don't have any children, although I'm nervous about a knock on the door occasionally. So anyways, there was a swing of Jessica in there at Rancho Mirage when she almost won what they call the Chevron now, or which used to be the Dinah Shore. And it was all Nelly swings. And somebody came up to me, and then somebody else came up to me, and somebody else came up to me and said, that swing in Palm Springs is the best golf swing I've ever seen. And it wasn't Nelly, it was Jessica. So if you think about that, the good that we kept in there is just Nelly's pedigree is unbelievable. And she's an athlete. And I think she maybe trained a little bit too technical before, like, I'm going to work on positions as opposed to being an athlete. So the good that we kept in there and the bad that we got out of there was get her out of my right elbow needs to be here, my foot needs to be here, I need to do this and that, and play golf like she's playing pickleball, or play golf like she's playing baseball or some other sport, and make her more of an athlete. And the more that we did there, the prettier it got. And as I was working with her, Randy's always my litmus test. Like, when I'm fixing somebody's swings, and that sounds presumptuous, fixing, because they're really fixing their swing themselves. But when we're going through the maintenance of somebody's swing, even cutting a tumor out of it that needed to get out of there, when we get it out of there, I'll send the video to Randy. And if it gets Randy's blessing, I know I'm going in the right direction.
Blessings. I like that. Is that why I occasionally pull off of a busy freeway into a parking lot when you call? Because I know there's going to be something in there. And I guess we could talk pretty frank. It's a good group of people. And I use a term with what Jamie sends me. And I may be getting in trouble for this, but I call it golf porn. It is such beautiful. I mean, these things that he sends me are never bad. I keep waiting for a swing that looks really like it needs some work. But the people Jamie are working with have a perfect flow to their golf swing. They understand impact. Their posture is absolutely phenomenal going through the golf ball. And it's so much fun to watch. It's great, because I can take those swings and have somebody that's sitting there, I need some rhythm in my swing. I said, well, okay, this is what rhythm looks like. And we need to define rhythm. Every player that Jamie has sent to me, some people I don't even know who they are, understand swinging the club head. And when they're swinging the club head, they never get in a hurry to swing the club head. You see that in Patrick Cantley. You see that in Nelly especially, and a couple of other people you've sent me, and I apologize, I'm losing their names, but they never rush the head to hit the ball. And there are none of them short hitters. And I keep saying that to people. I say, look at what this looks like to a player. I'll take their swings, or the swings that Jamie has sent me, and I'll play it for a player. Does there look like there's any rush with the handle to make the head hit the ball? Or is the head kind of flowing in the swing and accelerating all the way till it finishes? And it's been really kind of cool for me. The best one though, Jamie, what's that little gal's name that you keep sending me her picture?
Veronica Fellibert. I think the section's seen Veronica a bunch, and
yeah,
Veronica, Jessica, arguably the best golf swing that I've coached. super athletic, and Veronica kind of has defined fitness in golf for me, and that because she's so fit and she can move so flexibly and she can turn herself into the golf ball the exact right way and she can hit the positions, it's something that we can show all our players. So, and sometimes Nikki, like I've called Randy during a session and FaceTimed Randy with our student and have them look at it. And I feel like Randy's the high priest. And so I can show him the information. If he likes it, it's good enough for me.
Well, I tell you, the fun part of that is when you did that one day, Ed, you said, what is wrong with this swing? What would you do differently? And she hits this ball. And there was a long pause. I just shaking my head. And I answered it. I said, and she was listening. I said, aim it better.
Yeah.
And oh, did she get upset with that? I mean, no, whoa, wait, whoa. There's nothing wrong, but it goes back to what you're saying. Athletically, hit the shot where you're looking. It's like a basketball player. There's the net. There's this guy coming off my right. I've got to make a small adjustment. I'm still tied to my target in the execution of making a basket or the execution of hitting a quality shot. And, I think a lot of times we get into golf swing positions and this, that, and the other, and we get too wrapped up in them to the point where we almost could paralyze the student wondering about how good their position was instead of the quality of the golf shot.
Oh, I so agree with you. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were like, what would you have done to Jim Furyk? And I said, make sure that his dad stayed as his golf coach.
Mm-hmm.
He has 225 rounds on the PGA Tour without a bogey. Shot 58. He's won, I don't know, somebody probably has the money list there, but he's won $80 million playing. He's won in every situation. How would you like to be the guy that changed Jim Furyk, or even getting to watch Fred hit balls a lot and get to coach Fred a bit? Fred does a lot of things in his swing that are super beautiful, and he does a lot of things in his swing that if you were a swing coach, you'd change it immediately. Grip, the way the club gets picked up, the way it crosses the line at the top, the way his weight shifts into the ball, you might change that. But he makes it all work together, and you got to know his swing. So I love that. And Scotty's unique in the way that he goes about it. Scotty's probably my favorite person to watch warm up on the PGA Tour, because when you watch him warm up, he makes a bunch of swings hitting shots to spots. And I love that phrase, you got to hit shots to spots. And when he's hitting the shot to spot, what's happening with his knee or his foot or his shoulder or his arm, they don't factor in there. What's the important thing is moving the ball from point A to point B and shot to spot. And I think that's so vital. And in the teaching world, like everybody can do it the way that they want to. I will send Randy pictures of my golf swing and why people don't think I play golf anymore. I will hit golf balls, and I do play when I go on a trip. And I'll stop on a driving range a lot of time and hit some 9-irons. I have an old Ping 9-iron in the back of my car sitting next to my surfboard. And when I pull up to the a surfboard is something that you ride on the water, Randy, like a scooter would be ridden on the street. So
Okay.
I'll pull that 9-iron and I'll hit a few balls, and then I like to sit on the range and watch and see who's teaching who out there, and I watch what's going on. And a lot what goes on in instruction today is that somebody's got force plates. Sorry if you're offended by that. Somebody's got a quad. They got a video. They're taking a picture of their student, and then the student hits a shot, and then they're onto the machinery, and then they're onto the video. But at the end of the day, they're not applying the art of hitting a shot to a spot. They're trying to fix emotion so much that a lot of times when the student leaves, they might have got a lot of technical stuff, but now they got to go put that technical stuff together, and then they got to play their Saturday and Sunday golf round and try to get better. Where I know the way that Randy teaches, which is not completely like the way that I go about it, but pretty much the way that we go about it, is we're worrying about how they play and now they can move their ball to point A to point B. And arguably, since Tiger Woods' 2000 year, nobody's playing golf on the PGA Tour better than Scotty Scheffler's playing and Randy's coaching him.
Well, that it's hard to argue with. He's done a hell of a job. Very proud of him, but I probably have learned more from Scotty over the years than I've learned in anything, just on how he reacts to certain things. I kind of got a philosophy. I don't know if it's a philosophy or not. Okay, if I'm trying to change a golf swing, say Scotty's or anybody's, and I'm trying to change a golf swing, I'm going to do it with ball flight. And well, okay, don't you have to make your right arm and your left arm and your foot and do all this? No, you've hit a few balls, you know what's going on. And well, what about my backswing? It's 2 in, 2 over, and all that. And I say, yeah, I know that, but I want you to take that and I want you to create, say, a draw, a hook. I don't know if I can hook the ball. Yeah, you can. Curve it right to left. Okay, boom. They curve it right to left, and I'll be doggone if all of a sudden the golf swing changes drastically, maybe toward what you have been working on. Okay, to hit a draw, boom, do this. Okay, now start to draw further right, do this. And all of a sudden you see the backswing start to change because the ball flight they're trying to create tells the swing that's what we've got to do. So I like working more from outside back in. Outside meaning the club moving on the outside and the shot being what's being created back into what the body needs to do to create the illusion. And it's amazing what kind of changes you can get in a golf swing. And it's really a lot of fun to take somebody that's got a pull cut, a good player, but a pull cut. And just say, I don't care what you do, start it right at the stick, and I just want to see it. Okay, there's a little bit too much hands, and they do certain things. You let them do it for a while, and you film it. Take it back to them at the end. Remember that you told me about the backswing 2 in, 2 up? Okay, now I want you to look at these last few draws, even though, they're not the best shots, but they're starting to get the ball flight. I want you to look at the backswing now. And they look at the backswing, so that's totally different. Well, what did I tell you to do with your backswing? Nothing. You did it.
Yeah.
Well, how did I do that? Because you're creating the illusion of curve, height, a low shot, a high shot. And if you get a player, especially somebody that's played a little bit, understand swinging the club, understand slice, hook, and all that, you get them to do the other one, you probably, in getting them to feel that what has to happen to move that ball, all of a sudden the golf swing changes. And when that happens, it becomes magical.
I love that. Yeah, I would challenge everybody, everybody's going to teach a slicer today if they coach golf. They're going to teach somebody that has a outside motion on the way back and swings to left, and the ball starts left and curves back to the right. And you get a lot of people that hit it 280 yards, but it's going 180 yards left, and then it's going 100 yards right for net 192. And you could take that power and make it go straight, it would go 280. Take a slicer and just take your sunscreen bottle, which I like to carry my sunscreen. That's why I look so good for 97 years old. Take that sunscreen and throw it over to the right of the golf ball, and don't say anything about any mechanics at all, and tell your student to try to hit that over the top of the sunscreen, which would be almost a 180 from where they swing the golf club. And don't say anything about face angle, but watch 3 or 4 golf balls into it, regardless of their talent level or what they're going to do. All of a sudden you change path, and then take the club face and close the club face down and put it in their hands and say, now swing it over there. And next thing you know, they hit the first draw that they've ever hit in their life, and you haven't moved any body part at all. And that one works every time, if you're adamant about making sure that they're swinging out towards the sunscreen bottle. And if you're adamant about putting the club down there, now you got somebody that's hitting a nice little tight draw and they've never done it before. And now you just pat them on the back and say, hey, I just want to say something about your swing. And that can take 2 minutes to do. And the next thing you know, they come in and they say, wow, I'm able to draw the ball from the way that I played. And you didn't move a foot, a grip, a head, didn't read a book, didn't look at a video. You just got them to move themselves the right way in order to make the ball go. And now all of a sudden, Randy loves this word flow, as do I. They got a flow look about them. They're able to gather their pace. They're able to load their body behind the ball. And that would be a good way to start. Unfortunately, what happens is we try to mechanically fix what they do the other way, and it takes 7 lessons to do it, and they don't completely have it wired, and they never did it as an athlete, and they never did it with flow. So we're actually hindering them as opposed to behooving them.
Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen.
I love that. I love that.
Jamie and Randy, thank you very much. Nikki
Hey,
wanted me to
whoa, well, we're
transition.
not finished. We're just getting warmed up.
Yeah,
Jamie,
Nikki, it's up to you.
I'll take 3 hours and change shirts and show you what he
We-
really.
We do
Oh,
have one more
man.
guest we need to get to hear some important updates, but this has been absolutely amazing. Thank you both. Michael and I had a list of questions, and I think you all answered everything we had. You know, we wanted to transition from teaching those elite players to how do you translate that to your members or your customers, your students at the club, you know, to benefit your peers that are on the call. And you all did that so great. I'm gonna put that sunscreen bottle out next time we hit some balls, but can't thank you both enough. That was awesome.
Nikki and Michael, thanks for what you do for your respective sections, and it's beautiful to see the harmony between the sections, the way that you guys get along, and these chaps have been so effective. The fact that we started them during COVID and they've continued to live been great. And Randy, I like to all say that I'm in love with golf, and I love a lot of people in my life, but I'm in love with you. You're an amazing guy. Thank you for being you.
well, love you, brother. A lot of fun. It's a shame that I had a little bit of a technical glitch here, but that's me. And I promise you, if you guys ever want to do it again, I'll give you a do-over on this one as long as I can do it with Jamie.
Absolutely.
We have that recorded, right?
That's a done deal. Yep, that's a done deal. Thank you both so much. Really appreciate your time.
Craig, thanks.
Thank you.
Craig, thanks for all that you do for the section as well, too. It's so appreciated, or both the sections and actually the golf world. Thank you. It's so appreciated. You're a lovely guy. All right. Have a good rest of the show. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Randy.
You guys take care.
Today, brother. Thank you. Bye.
See you, Bob.
Well, thank you to Jamie Mulligan and Randy Smith. I'll turn it over to Craig Kessler. Craig, good luck following that. I know everything you have is always very informative. So the floor is yours.
Rapid fire, Craig, rapid
Well,
fire.
thank you, Michael, but we're not going to hear everything I have today. I'm just going to cut this down in the time remaining, and I was fascinated. I'm going to remember next week when I'm playing Pebble Beach and Spyglass, try to find the good and get rid of all the bad, because there's a whole lot more bad in my game than there is in most of their students' game. Anyway, very quickly, I'm just going to bring two things to your attention that are real time, basically. I know many of you are probably awaiting the final fate of a bill that was passed last year, signed by the governor, and becomes effective Monday. It's Senate Bill 478 for those who love numbers. It's the junk fees bill. That's its name. Originally, we didn't do any reporting on it because it was understood by everyone when the governor signed the bill that it didn't apply to restaurants and banquet functions. What it is, it's a requirement that you post one and only one price when you advertise something to the public, and not add 5% not add gratuities, not add service charges and all those kinds of things. And then in May, our Attorney General decided that it does apply to restaurants and banquets, and that would even include private clubs, notwithstanding the fact that you're in essence paying yourself. So the author of the bill, Bill Dodd from Napa, didn't like the Attorney General. Well, I think what really happened was the California Restaurant Association banged on his door. The good news is both the author and Unite Here Local 11, which is the labor union that represents restaurant workers, agree that restaurants should not have been part of it. And as long as you put those charges not in the kind of tiny print that we read on our insurance policies, but fairly visible, they'd be exempt. So we're awaiting to see whether they can beat Monday's effective date of the law in making the changes. I doubt at this point, since it's Friday, that they'll do that, but we're tracking it day by day by day, and we'll report it out as soon as something breaks on it. I'm optimistic. It may be a little bit later than the law going into effect, but that's the best we can do. That's the best that they can do. The other thing happened earlier this week. It's a Senate bill that passed last year. It's in the Assembly. Golf industry supported this thing big time. Our support was solicited by the California Municipal Utilities Association. And for the first time in the history of this state, a state that has 81 specific targets mostly on the private sector to decarbonize our life and our economy. There has been no such target on water supply. So with the understanding and with the credible science to back it up, that in the next 20 years, we're looking at somewhere between 4.5 million and 9 million acre feet of permanent loss in our water supply through the Colorado Basin and the Sierra Nevada snowpack. Finally, it looks like the legislature is going to move and the governor is going to sign a bill that actually long-term, with a first date of 2040 and thereafter 2050, puts specific targets on water supply, with conservation clearly being one of the measures of supply, and golf industry is 100% behind that, but it won't be the only measure of supply, and supply will not be sucking water out of the Sacramento Delta. It'll be things like stormwater capture, aquifer replenishment, potable reuse, and the various sorts of things, what I would call 21st century supply infrastructure. This is important to the golf industry because we became much closer than most understand in 2022. Had we had a fourth consecutive year of no rain like we'd had in the previous 3 years, we were literally looking at probably our industry being one of the first that would be cut back. I trust everyone understands that. We think we're important, and we are, to the recreational aspect of California. However, we are not vital to human health, safety, life, hospitals, those kinds of things, and growing food. So good news, it's really a sea change. This kind of bill, according to all the water districts that we talked to, and we talked to a lot of them, would not have passed just a few short years ago. But it represents a move in a positive direction, and we should take light from that. I'm going to close with that and just indicate that the other bills I was going to discuss were two that we opposed, and our opposition was very successful. Won't go into the details. Many of you probably remember them. One dealt with banning the use of fertilizers and pesticides on golf resorts in the coastal zone, and the other one dealt with year-round standard time. Both of those are dead moving forward. The one bill we supported, which didn't make it through the appropriations process, but gave us, I think, the knowledge that we need, the information to maybe float our own bill next year that's better targeted in terms of providing subsidies or grants for turf replacements, not turf removals. Something that's already going on in the southern part of the state, but it's not supported statewide. And because it's not supported statewide, the federal government through the Bureau of Reclamation is reluctant to give rebates and incentives on that basis as well. But we have some ideas, and we're going to run it next year. We have some ideas about making it more palatable and including the urban parks community in it. So I think that was really rapid fire and not as comprehensive as I had hoped. But you know, when you're following the act that I had to follow, that's just the way things roll. That was a fascinating interview, and I too am witness to the fact that they agreed to both come on and do it in a future date, and I'm sure you'll be signing up. So with that, with rapid fire, mostly in conclusion, we are doing so much better in Sacramento than we did 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. I hope statewide, we can take that as an indicator that we've discovered what we need to do. And if we can simply scale that up and put more resources into it, we can do even better than that. And may I suggest, the way things are going, we'll probably have to do better than that in order to just continue to get the same results we've gotten. So with that, I will sign off. And Nikki, was that rapid fire enough for you?
I'm loving the Kessler rapid fire. I could get used to this. No, that was great.
You never
Greg.
know. One of these months you may have some opening acts that are not too scintillating, and you might need a little longer report.
I know. Thank you for
keep that in
being
mind. So I just checked a few things off the list, and so I've got them in reserve for future.
Perfect. Thank you for being flexible, and that certainly was a great chat. Thanks everybody for being on. I know we ran a couple minutes over. Just a reminder, if you are phoning in, we don't have your name recorded, so please reach out to your respective section to get your PDR credits for attending. More to come on the date for July. We're working on comparing calendars now, and more to come on that. Michael, any closing remarks?
No, I wish we had more time for Randy and Jamie. Maybe we just need to make them come back in July.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks everybody again. This was recorded. It'll be housed on the Southern California PGA YouTube channel. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday and weekend, and a safe and happy 4th of July. Thank you.